Hi, I'm Randy Martin.
I'm Yowen.
Today we're going to show off a product that we have called AQUAFLEX. It's a pair of shorts and swim trunks, and we got the idea first from a sample company that sent us this little magic thing. It's a little waterproof pocket activated by, or not necessarily activated, but neodymium magnets in the flap here. They're quite strong and close automatically. So whatever you put in, it kind of self-seals, almost like a Ziploc. It's quite strong actually, because I've jumped off a boat before because I was worried that the flap would pop open as the water goes by, but it didn't. And this is kind of where the journey started. Us and our partner saw this and thought, oh, there's a lot of potential in here, because we are sailboat enthusiasts and hikers and whatever you want to say. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and say your bit. I may be the idea, but she's definitely the designer. So if you're guys out there watching this, please know that it's not a man dressing you; it's going to be her.
All right. So when we first saw this pocket, what was the most interesting to us was the fact that it was self-closing, and second, obviously, the fact that you can actually put stuff in there and that it's waterproof. And as avid travelers, like Randy was saying, this was like, oh my God, how come this doesn't already exist? Now, before, making samples, we were like, let's see if this actually works. So we Frankensteined one of my husband's old swim trunks, and I actually just, put one in there to see if it would work. And it was like, you know what? We went to a friend's pool, and yeah, it totally worked. We put in a little piece of tissue paper. He went for a little swim, got out, and the piece of paper was still dry. So from there, we're like, all right, so this could be something really cool. But what are we actually trying to make? Are we trying to make swim trunks with pockets? Traveler shorts? And this is Rand, I think you might want to jump in.
Sure. Well, at first it was, I think, going to be swim trunks with a waterproof pocket. And we went a little bit back and forth on the target idea. But as we progressed onto a further prototype, which the color here, this was the material we had access to, so the color is not necessarily a production color, unless somebody really, there's high demand for it. And so we wanted to see if we could fix a few things on swim trunks. It mainly was the inside lining. And as you can see here, and I'll let you come in, we made a much better, this little nylon plasticky thing, we made a much better stretchy feeling, softer, and definitely more support, I would say, inside as a liner, which was the first improvement as a swim trunk. And from there, we decided to venture that way. We added a slightly different set of pockets than the prototype 1, which is these ones here that open up on the side. And they're a little bit harder to manipulate because of the angle. So unless you reach over with your hand, they're a bit harder to work through. There's plenty of space on them. They're not bad. But they contributed to a slight discomfort because they kind of jabbed at the belt area if you're walking up some stairs or if you're squatting down. So, there were some lessons learned on this one. That's pretty much where we went with this one. We were really curious if we were able to make a pair of shorts, that was wearable if you're just traveling through a city. We recently took some through Spain, but still have built-in underwear that you could swim with, like a regular swim trunk, and then come in and out of the water. So this was the evolution of that. We moved away from board shorts and into short country, but we kept the inside liner just like a swim trunk. So the ideas are starting to get really intertwined on this particular prototype.
Yeah, and one of the issues that we encountered beyond just this pocket here, that because the magnetic strip is a little rigid, as Randy mentioned, this does poke you or it doesn't bend nicely when you're walking. The other issue that we encountered here was the actual fly front with the liner inside. And so because we wanted to keep the liner as a feature, it became an issue because, well, first of all, the zipper in the water environment is not the best, but then also the liner wasn't attached correctly, so then, well, things would go free willy, if you will. So then came our later prototype with a couple of corrections, and also a couple of things that we wanted to maintain. That being, we wanted to maintain additional pocket features so that they feel more like regular city shorts or just shorts that you can wear more commonly hiking on every day. We also wanted to keep the elastic band availability so that it's easy to get in and out of the shorts. We also wanted to keep a little D-ring feature on the back for anybody who likes to, put a lanyard on it or clip their keys. So then we moved on to proto number 2, which is, first of all, the fabric is so much nicer. We moved away from more of, this was a little bit of a thin nylon-y material. This one has a lot more structure to it and it's quick dry. So we wanted to make an improvement on the material. We then fixed the fly front issue, and it became to have a magnetic flap. And then if I turn it inside out, you have a fully functional undergarment on the inside with the initial material that is also quick dry. And as you can see, it's kind of a mesh-like material still. So it dries really quickly, it's super comfortable on the skin, and it's stretchy enough to give enough support to your entire body. So that's that. And then, I'll leave Randy tell the other one.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah? We found an issue because with the underwear the way it is, or the underlining the way it is, we had to close off the front part. Now, how are you going to get into your shorts if you can't open your pants? That's where this elastic came through. So how did I call it? I called it like the parachute thing, but then I discovered that parachutes don't have 2 straps. But anyways.
Well, they do, but you only use one to pull it out anyway.
So the idea here is you can undo the Velcros so you have full elasticity to get in and out without buckling and unbuckling your pants.
Patent pending, by the way.
Yeah. And then can you demonstrate, actually? Because I can't reach over.
So as you put them on, you can leave them slightly loose. You just, like this, they're nice and comfy. Or if you're going to go for a swim and you want to avoid the dreaded coming out of the swim ladder or wherever and have your trunks stay in the water, you can cinch them in. Just pull that in nice and tight. Goes all the way back. Obviously, I went a little too far here, but you can really make them nice and tight. It's a lot more comfortable than the old shoelace on board shorts like that one. Here. Yeah, and guys, I don't know if this happens to you, but for me, it always eventually slips through, and then you have to fiddle to try to get one out. Or when you really, really got to go to the bathroom because you've been swimming and drinking beer all day, you end up with not a bow here, but a double knot, and you just, trying to hurry up to get out. So you avoid all this by having a much more functional belt system with Velcro, yet you still have the secure, snug fit, so it won't just fall off you as you're coming out of the water. We went back to the side pocket on this one compared to the prototype turquoise or whatever this color is, which is a little bit easier to manipulate once they're on you with just one hand, and you can just slide a phone in. You can easily fit a phone and a wallet in here, which was really the objective of what you're going to keep dry. And as we were developing, we discovered a few other use cases, which when we went to Spain a few months ago, you're not necessarily always going to go swimming when you wear them, but you're also not always going to be dry, especially if you're sailing like we were, when you think you're going to be dry. So ocean spray as we were sailing or just riding the dinghy to shore, whatever I had in here, my wallet, my phone, even the keys, would stay dry despite the splash of the waves coming in. I wasn't going in the water at that time. And, knock on wood, you don't fall in as you're going from your boat to your dinghy, but it might. And in this case, your phone and everything would be safe. So that was really cool. But then as we were going around through Spain, we went, full tourist in some cities. They were quite comfortable as just, not necessarily hiking shorts, but I guess you could say yacht shorts, just walking around. And we were always ready to swim. So if it got really hot and there was accessibility to cold water or just a beachfront, you could just walk in at any point. Didn't have to leave my wallet and my stuff on the beach or with her to keep safe while I went and cooled down. So a few extra features. And even coming out of the water and then resuming the hike or the walk that we were doing, they dried fairly quickly. I would say quick dry at the very much, at least the same rate as board shorts, or sorry, not board shorts, but yachting shorts would. and but they're not uncomfortable. Unlike this thing, where when I come out of the water, all I want to do is pat it dry and probably immediately take it off, because this is really not comfortable when it's all wet and trying to, crawl up on you. And yeah, so whereas this one, it just stayed wet and humid. It dried, as I walked through, obviously with the sun and the heat, dried fairly quickly, but it was quite pleasant to have on despite being soaking wet, and very, very fun, all in all, discovering the strengths and the weaknesses of it. Actually, all strengths. I didn't find any weaknesses at the time. One other thing I guess we could add in there, and this is really for the dudes out there. These feel a little bit more like boxer briefs. There's, I'm going to say it this way, there's some support, not uncomfortably so, but definitely compared to board shorts or swim trunks, much more comfortable support for your fellas down there. But still very breathable, very stretchy, very flexible. It's quite amazing. You have to try them on really to understand what I'm trying to explain here. But if ever you've been uncomfortable in your tiny little, I want to say vegetable net. To me, this looks like stuff that you get at the grocery store. It's holding the onions together usually. That plasticky feel. Yeah, this is really not great. This is amazing by comparison. Okay, so we're going to do a little test here. We have a surprise water bowl, real water, legit, and just gonna let myself. We're gonna put a little piece of paper towel here, first test, just inside the pocket. As you see, the magnets close all by their own. Very positive, safe thing. So you're not gonna worry that you didn't snap it on yourself properly. Very very neat. And just gonna hold it down here. This might be a little air pocket from the paper towel itself. That's gonna try to float up, and and my hands are going to be wet, and that's probably going to put a little bit of moisture.
Here, I'll take it out.
On the paper towel. I'll just open it and you go ahead.
Yep. Oh, I got some water on my hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, completely dry.
Bone dry. Jean-Marc was kind enough to sacrifice his phone, which as you can see is working. Turn it off and turn it back on here. It's a functional phone. I'm going to put it in the pocket, which is still wet, please note, because this second test we did the paper towel one just before. Here it is. Phone is going in the water. And by the way, on some of our other footage, there's me doing this in the Mediterranean while I'm wearing the shorts, and that is exactly the same test, but live and while I'm wearing it. I just flipped it a couple of times. Now, again, typically, if you just dunked into the pool or the ocean, you're probably not just going to pop out and take your phone out. But in this case, there might be a little bit of water from my hands that end up on the phone, but otherwise, it'll be bone dry. And as you can see, still working. That's it.